So I haven't lived here in a little while, and I just came back to move out and get everything ready to like finalize the thing. And before I left this apartment, temporarily, I felt really stuck. I was at a place in my life where I felt like nothing was happening, nothing was moving. There was absolutely no change, no excitement, nothing interesting going on. And it felt like a trap. So this apartment became a place I felt trapped in. And that's why I had to take a break, get some fresh perspectives, and really, I left not really knowing what would happen or if I was gonna come back or not come back or whatever. I just needed a change of scenery, and that's what I did. I left for a little while, and things happened throughout the time that I was away, which made it clear to me that maybe my time here, in this apartment in Amsterdam, has come to an end, which is something I never saw coming because I felt like I wanted to stay here for the rest of my life. And that's what I kept telling all of my friends and my family, and I meant it. This had become my second home. I felt more comfortable in Amsterdam than I ever felt anywhere else. I felt like this is a place that has a lot of the things I want mentally and maybe creatively and socially, and I felt like, okay, I can totally see myself building a life here. Still, knowing all of that and being 100% honest with myself, I soon started having health issues, which basically they paralyzed me at some point, and I'm not gonna go into details because that's beyond the point. But yeah, my life here, even though this was in my head the ideal place for me, became the source of my wellness to go down. And I was just not healthy anymore. I wasn't in a body that was thriving. I did not have energy. All my bodily functions were stuck. My skin wasn't doing good. My hair wasn't doing good. Nothing was working in my body. And it's not like I had a huge health issue that required lots of hospitals and treatments and doctors and stuff like that. It was the entire opposite. So it was like not life-threatening, but where I couldn't enjoy life. Lots of bloating, digestion issues, all of my functions were just stuck. Hormonal, no periods for months, really bad, really, really bad. I'm starting to think that I was probably depressed for a very long time and I didn't realize. I'm only realizing now because I'm feeling so much better, and it's been almost a year since I was at my lowest. So yeah, when people say it takes time, it does take time. I didn't really believe that until it happened to me. But long story short, despite me feeling that this is the place I could live in, that this is the city I wanted to stay in, my body was showing me that it was not. And once my situation just wasn't viable anymore, and I realized, okay, I need to change things, I need to shake things up, and I need to be healthy again before I can think about anything else, whether that's career, finances, relationships, houses, nothing. If I'm not healthy, none of that matters. So I need to take care of myself. I need to go somewhere where I can take care of myself better. And that's why I moved out of here temporarily until I saw what that meant and decide what I should do next. And then I went to India for a month, which was a totally random trip out of nowhere, very spontaneous. Just me wanting to explore a couple of skills that had truly changed my life in the past few years here in Amsterdam, and which I felt were absolutely necessary for me to survive anywhere else. And since I probably cannot get them everywhere, I said, okay, I'm gonna go learn and explore that by myself so no one can take that away from me again. I'm not dependent on anyone, on a yoga studio, on a business to cultivate inner peace and deepen, my awareness and my connection to everything around me. So I was like, I'm just gonna go do that on my own and then see where that takes me. And I went to India, had a blast. It was really intense, but so necessary. I didn't even know how much my body needed that until I actually did it, until I was actually there, getting up at 5 a.m. and meditating and chanting and practicing yoga for like 3 hours a day and talking about yoga philosophy and spirituality, and my body was so happy to be there. And I met all these incredible people, and then just when I was talking to someone, out of nowhere, I realized that something in my brain had switched. Something in my brain said, we're actually not going to do that anymore. We're moving back to Cyprus. We're moving back. It wasn't a conscious decision. It just happened. And then while I was talking to this friend of mine, I caught myself talking as if I had already moved back. And I turned around and I was like, holy fuck. Did that just, like, I'm moving back. I'm moving back. I'm actually doing this. I'm actually doing this after 10 years of being away. And the second I said that, I felt this huge relief in my body everywhere. Everywhere. Everything I was afraid of just went down, just went away. And that's how I knew this is the right decision for me. This is exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I never looked back. So it's been a few months since then, and I'm officially back to cut ties with the place, clear up my apartment, sell my furniture, ship my stuff back home, say goodbye to friends. I'm obviously going to be coming quite often. I'm going to be visiting. I love this city. I'm going to keep coming back, and especially now that I have so many friends here, it's not that hard to just hop on a plane and come over here. So I know I'll be back, but it does feel like closing a big chapter of my life, because again, some of my hardest moments and maybe saddest and loneliest moments were right here in this apartment, which makes it a bit painful to be back, but also bittersweet in a way, because I kind of felt like it had to break me, like it had to happen for me to realize what was important and to move ahead with certainty. Because I have this thing in my life where I cannot really decide and settle down easily. I'm not sure if it's commitment issues and where it comes from or whatever, but I'm always looking for what's next, what's out there, what's a new country I can go explore, what's a new language I can learn, what's a new place I can go to and never come back, what's a new culture I can immerse myself in. And that's good. That's a good thing to have. But I think the problem with me, or like where I lose it and it goes out of hand, is that it's never enough. It's never enough. I don't have this in other areas of my life. For example, finances or consuming or whatever, stuff like that. I'm always like a minimalist when it comes to those things. So like I always know I have enough. But when it comes to experiencing life and discovering and tasting its different flavors and meeting all these different people, it's never enough. It's never enough. In my head is always, there could be something better. There could be something better. I just need to find that something better. And I keep looking, and I keep looking, and I keep moving countries, and I keep searching for people, and I keep searching for experiences and hobbies and stuff like that, because it's like, what's the next best thing? What's the next amazing thing? Because what I have right now is good, but there's better. I'm sure there's better, which is why I've never been satisfied in a job, and I'm always like, okay, but what's next? What's more? What's out there? This does is that it creates this perpetual cycle of always wanting more, always believing there's more, and then always hating what's already in front of me, and then trying to find more, find something new, get excited until I begin to think of something else, and then I hate the new thing again. I love how curious I am, and I love how thirsty for life I am. I absolutely love that, and I'm never gonna change. But there's an issue with always wanting more. And the thing is that what you have is never enough. And what's right in front of you, even though what you have right now is what you once dreamed you could get, and it's right there in front of you, you can't really see that anymore. Now it's something that's holding you back because there's better out there and you're not there yet. So coming back here to clear my apartment, a lot of the stuff is like exactly how I left it. So it was like a perfect check-in moment for me to see where I was and how I lived my life a year ago as opposed to now. And I realized a few things. I'm not only searching for the next big thing when it comes to the city I'm going to live in, or the job I'm going to do, or the project I'm going to create, or any of that. It also applies to how I used to live my life a year ago, every single day. My habits. I just looked around at my apartment and I found so many things that just they scream how I am always waiting to live life. I found like 3 or 4 wine bottles that I had been saving up for a special occasion. They're sitting there untouched, unopened. I have found a cupboard full of candles that I never lit on because I was saving them for a special night. I have found clothes that I never wore because the event I was going to wasn't special enough. I found perfumes that I was saving for special dates and nights and stuff like that. You know, I would have my cheap perfume, but not the expensive one. We're not gonna wear that just to go to the gym. We're gonna save that. Guess what? The bottle's still full. And all I did was wear cheap perfume. I found these face masks in my fridge. I had them in the fridge, cold, ready to use for the longest time. And I never used them. Even though my skin was shit because of how depressed I was last year. I had the intention of doing all these lovely things for myself, and then I was just not doing them because I was waiting for my life to change. I was waiting for things to be better. So I've been organizing my move here, and I was also thinking that I want to do some sightseeing, go around, like be a tourist for a little bit just before I have to leave. And I also realized that there are so many places and museums and restaurants and bars that I've always said I wanted to go, and I never did. I never did. And it wasn't like I didn't have the time. I lived here for 5 years. I've been to some, I've done some of the things I wanted, sure. But 5 years isn't enough time for me to have done everything I wanted to do here. Like, the more I think about it, the more I realize how stuck I had been keeping myself. It wasn't my life here. It wasn't the apartment. It wasn't anything else. It was me. I kept myself stuck that entire time. Yes, sure, a lot of difficult stuff happened to me, which didn't really help. Okay, but I've always had the choice. I had always had the chance to live my day to day instead of waiting for the day to be better so that I give myself permission to live again. I shouldn't have waited for the perfect night to drink the wine. I shouldn't have waited for whatever evening to light my candles. I used to light them all the time when I first moved in. I remember every night was candle night. Every night was self-care night. Every night was self-love night. And sometimes there were people here and it was amazing and everyone loved it. And other days there were not and it was still lovely. I don't know why it's so easy to do that when something is new. And I don't understand why it becomes so easy for us to lose it along the way. 5 years in this place, and I don't want to say I wasted them because that's not true, and I know that. But I also didn't really live them fully. And that's something I'm gonna regret forever. And if there's anything I don't like feeling is regret. All this time I thought I was anxious to come back and move out because I was anxious about my choice, about my decision of like, is this the right move? Because Honestly, I don't really vibe with the people back home. There's very few people I feel like I communicate with, and it's a bit outside of my interest zone. Life on the island is good, but it's not really interesting. So all this time I thought I was anxious and stressed and scared because I would have to come back here. And then if I move out, it would be hard for me to undo this decision. Once the apartment's empty and everything, finding an apartment downstairs is extremely hard. So it would be like, the end of my time here. And I didn't really want to regret that. I wasn't sure, and I thought I was scared I was going to do something I was going to regret, simply. But being here, finally being in the apartment and being back to my old habits and my old routines and my old bed and my old kitchen and my old furniture and my old ass shower in the kitchen, it's just extremely clear to me that I wasn't anxious and I wasn't scared. I was just sad. I was just really sad. And the reason I've been so sad is in the move. I'm gonna be back again in a few months, so that's not why I'm sad. I know I'll always be back. The reason I'm sad is because I did not live up to my own expectations. And not from an ambitious standpoint, not from I didn't chase or fight enough for what I wanted. I did that to the fullest. But I didn't live my life how I wanted to live it. I held back. I didn't say yes enough. If anything, all I said was no. All I fucking said was no. No, I don't want to go to that cafe because I don't want to break my meal plan. Whatever. Not enough protein. Too much sugar. Ugh. Guess what? I still haven't been to that brunch place and I'm leaving in 5 days. I didn't go out to that bar because it was a weeknight and I had to work the next day and I was really busy and I had this big meeting and I missed out on that incredible night. I didn't travel enough, even within the country. I actually did the same when I lived in Paris. I lived in Paris for 5 years. And when it was time to leave, I got really sad because I realized I still hadn't done most of the stuff I wanted to do in Paris. And it made me really sad. But back then, it was a little bit different because I was a student. It was hard to travel or do big things outside of school because, well, you're not working. Financially, it's not easy for a student. And you're not really free when it comes to your schedule. At least I wasn't in Paris. It was really hard. Really, really hard. When I left Paris, it was like, okay, I didn't do a lot of the stuff I wanted to do. I didn't visit the south. Everyone thought I was from the south of France when I lived there, and I had never been there once. And I was dying to go. French Riviera, Marseille, Cannes, all of those places which are like calling my name in all kinds of ways. And I've never been there. And I was in France for 5 years. But again, my time in Paris was so connected to uni, which kind of made it easy for me to say, okay, but I really wanted, but it was really hard with uni there. I had a reason that I didn't really experience France the way I wanted to, But here in Amsterdam, I was way more independent. I had a lot more freedom over my time and stuff, but I still didn't do any of the things I wanted to do. And for a long time, I had convinced myself that it was a financial thing. That, yes, I want to travel here and there, but it's not going to be enough. I don't have enough money. Or I don't have enough vacation days from work to go to this place. Or, yeah, Amsterdam got really, really expensive in the last few years. Like, incredibly expensive. And there were stuff going on with my career that made it a bit challenging for me. So I eventually stopped everything to save money and be better and be safe and be cautious. But when I did that, what I really did was just I stopped living. Because this mask had been in my fridge all along. My candles had been here on the table all along. I still didn't light the damn candles. And now I'm here. I need to empty this place. and it's full of half lit candles.